Hi, I'm Oliver Gavin. I'm driving the number 4 C7R with Corvette Racing here. I drive with Tommy Milner. I'm just going to show you some of the features of the new C7R. Okay, so here we are in the cockpit of the C7R, number 4 car, and I'll just start here on the buttons on the steering wheel. The top one here is the radio button. I'm talking that, we press that when we want to talk to the team. One below that is a drink button, and that then you press the button when you've got this connected into your crash helmet, and then it squirts the water then into your mouth. We only ever really run water. We don't run any sports drinks. It becomes too funky, too difficult, and different guys want different things, so we just stick with the plain water. Underneath that is the start button. That's for when we just wanted to pull away from a pit stop. If we turn the engine off or any other time, we can use this to start the car. And then we go down here to the TC function switches. So that's those 2 TC buttons right there. Then they've got turn buttons, left and right, that you have to have racing at Le Mans. The reverse button, which actually I've never used, and I hope I never do. That's an alarm clear button, if we get an alarm up on the dash here. Next to that is, or above that is the map switch button, or you know, toggle switch. And we're being told to change that quite regularly during the race, and that can be anything to do with you know, different engine maps, or slightly different throttle settings, or you know, all kinds of numerous different things that the team are working on all the time. Already talked about these 2 here. This is quite important coming in for a pit stop. Is the stop button, stops the engine. Pit lane speed limit set at the 37 miles an hour, and then this is the flash button, flashes the lights. Coming up behind the slower car, wanting to flash the lights to pass a guy. On the back of the wheel, we've got the paddles. That's the upshift paddle on the right side here, and the downshift on the left side here. One of the things that we've actually got on this column and this steering wheel is a tilt system. So when we come into a pit stop and we need to get out of the car, we just flick this handle here, and it's spring-loaded, and it pops that up. So Tommy and I can now get in and out of the car without actually to remove the wheel, which is very, very helpful. All kinds of things up here on the display. So on here we've got tyre pressures, we've got the amount of fuel that's left in the tank, the amount of fuel that we've used, gallons in the lap. That's a TC number, that's the yaw number, you know, going back to the steering wheel here on all those different settings that we're adjusting as we're going around with the TC. Engine map, that's the amount of laps that we've done in a stint. This is quite important for us, the lap time, and then the time gain loss, and how much slower or faster we are to the datum lap. This is the fuel predict number, that's the speed, and obviously the gear position. And then also the battery voltage here, and any alarm. And the engine's not running, so you know, that's one of the reasons why that's flashed up. Down the side here, we've got LEDs, and these are flashing blue when we've got wheel spin, and then flashing red when we're locking a wheel. So if we're locking the right front, this one starts to illuminate, and we were locking the left front, this one starts to illuminate. So then going over here to this console, we've got the rear view camera and the collision avoidance system that Pratt & Miller have developed with Bosch. A great system. And so this picks up vehicles behind us as they're coming up behind us, prototype cars. Down the left-hand side, you've got the meters that the car is behind you, and then the seconds that the car is behind you. And that comes up on a little dot. But when the car is there, there's a little chevron above it that appears on the screen. And as the car's catching you, that goes from green to yellow to red. And then as it goes by you, then there's an arrow. And that color of the arrow and the color of the chevron above the car will change depending on how quickly it's catching you and then passing you. So that's a very useful system. Over here, it's somewhat difficult to see maybe, but we've got all the different switches. So we've got 2 starter switches. That's to get neutral. That's an emergency switch for certain things, and then there's an electrical override system. Fuel reserve button, which we don't usually have to use because it's all automatic. Headlight switch, so we toggle through those to turn the headlights on, and also the lights inside here, inside the car. AC, so we can then turn it up. We only really use this at the very long races, and it's say if it's for very, very cold, then we can certainly turn the AC off and not have it running the whole time. which is kind of nice sometimes. Sometimes it does get too cold, particularly with the air blowing into your helmet. The wiper, it turns it on and off. That's the steering, but we don't actually use that much. Function, that's another thing. If there's something gone slightly awry inside the car, you can adjust the function switch. That's the master power switch. And then this is the dimmer, and that dims the display here. And also all of the shift lights that you have. The shift lights come up across here for shifting the gear. So 1 is the lowest setting, and we usually run it on about 5 during the day. And then the page switch, you adjust that and it changes the display just here. And we can look at all kinds of different things on the display.
Brilliant.
Then we've got the fire bottle button and radio underneath that. And then of course we've got the brake balance adjustment here. So there's plenty to look at inside the car here. We've got a pretty busy cockpit, but all of these items, we're using them all of the time that we're driving. We are certainly trying to be, the team are trying to be as interactive with us as we possibly can. And you know, it's a way that we've found that a lot of these systems are very, very useful for us to get through certain situations and outcomes in races. And it's all about being prepared and making sure that you've got nearly everything covered. So that's the cockpit of the C7R.